For those of you who are taking the modern education, must remain very careful of what subjects are more important than the others. And most importantly, you must be conscious about the association. What you are getting in the school, what is worst part is the risk of getting into the bad association. There are many temptations of getting into the bad habits due to bad association. And this is a time when you need to build a strong foundation of your life. So, we need to carve out a life which is rock solid, built on the timeless wisdom, principles, and the foundation of spirituality. So, imagine each day of your life like a brick in the wall. Just like a wall is built with thousands of small bricks, same way our life is made of thousands of small days. Each day is like a brick in a big wall, which is our life. So then we need to build each day a very strong brick. Each day of our life, if that is strong, then our life will be automatically strong. All of you need to pour high quality into each single day of your life. The strength and the quality that will come from sadhana, spiritual sadhana, and hearing the lectures. And more you do this, more you fill your day with high quality, more you will see that the entire life is filled with the high quality. So what we need to do is we need to focus only on the day. What is today? We don't have to focus on life. Of course, we need to build a direction to the life. But then all our actions, all our thought force needs to go in that one particular day, because that one day is the building block of my life. So if we want to build quality in life, we need to bring quality in that one day, each single day. So most important things of our life we need to fill early in the morning of that day. We need to be very, very sincere about every day of our life. And once we are able to bring weight, once we are able to bring gravity in every day, the next day will be even better. Because these things are such. If you make one bad day, next day will be even worse. Because we get into those habits. So quickly we get into that. So if we make one good day, we get into the habit of living a good day and make the next day even better. So chanting is one thing that you need to start your day with. Deity worship, if you have temple at the home, you should do deity worship, remember Krishna. And even if you don't have the deities at home, still even you can do the online darshan of the deities. You should read Bhagavad Gita for a couple of hours every single day, minimum 1 hour, and chanting minimum 8 rounds to start with. And you should be eager to reach to the 16th round. Srila Prabhupada says 16 rounds is the minimum. So do not think that you are kids, you are young, too young to do 16 rounds, not at all. And those who are doing 16 rounds, they are sharing that they have found so much more time in the day just because of chanting. Chanting is not taking your time away. Chanting is actually giving you more time in the day. Fill your day with rock solid principles, spiritual principles early in the morning. And then you will see how much strength you will gain in that day and eventually in the life. So today's topic is truth versus science. Truth versus science. So what is science and what is really the truth? So Vedic or spiritual education is complete in itself. And Bhagavad Gita is the essence of Vedic scriptures. There is nothing that remains to be known after you have deeply realized the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita. There is no science beyond this science. This is a king of all knowledge. So Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, this is Raj Vidya. It is a king of all knowledge. It is a science of absolute truth. And coming from absolute truth, Lord Krishna Lord Krishna is the absolute truth, and anything coming out of Lord Krishna will be absolute truth. So Bhagavad Gita is not only a Vedic scripture, which is the only one spoken by Lord Krishna himself, it is also something which has got absolute knowledge from the absolute person, and this is the absolute scripture. So the knowledge inside this is infallible, that cannot fail. That cannot fail in any circumstances, in any age, in any time. It's beyond time, it's beyond space, it is absolute. Bhagavad Gita covers all the subjects that we study in the schools. The knowledge given in Bhagavad Gita is the absolute form of that knowledge. Let's say if we study physics, chemistry, biology in the school, we have the same things in the different language, different words, different names given to it, but in its absolute form in Bhagavad Gita. So let's take an example of some of these subjects that we study in the school and see what Bhagavad Gita has in its absolute form for us. Every verse, when we read, we'll see that every verse is a truth in itself, is a higher science, topmost science, which is a truth, absolute truth in itself. So let's start with physics. So physics has discovered only this universe we are living inside, and some planets within this universe, and the counting of those planets also keeps on changing. But Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita there are innumerable universes and infinite planets in each one of these universes. So each planet has a life inside. There are living beings inside each planet. For example, Srila Prabhupada says that on moon planet, there are living beings who are living for 10,000 years, and each day of their life is equal to our 6 months. I'm just going to play this small part of Srila Prabhupada where he is quoting this.
We have got information from Srimad Bhagavatam that there the people, they live for 10,000 of years. And what is that measurement of year? Our 6 months equal to their 1 day. Now, such 10,000 of years, just imagine. It is called Daiva Varsha. Daiva Varsha means year according to the demigods calculation. Just like Brahma's day, that is demigod calculation. Sahasra bhujuga parjantam arahajjat brahmano vidu. We have got information from Bhagavad Gita. Krishna says that they calculate the years of the demigod. Everyone's year is calculated. This is called, and this is accepted by the modern science, relative truth or the law of relativity. A small ant, he has got also 100 years age. But the ant's 100 years and our 100 years different. This is called relative.
So you can hear Srila Prabhupada is talking about moon, how on the moon planet there are 10,000 years of life of living beings there, and each day is about 6 months of equal to our life. But at the same time he is also talking about the theory of relativity, which the modern science also accepts, which is also in scriptures, where he is saying it's even an ant is living for 100 years, like a human is living for 100 years. But the 100 years of ant is very different from the 100 years of humans. So it's relatively that looks small, but they are also living their 100 years within that time in which they live. So this is a theory of relativity which is also completely in its absolute term given in the scriptures in Bhagavad Gita. So we can see that universes, the number of universes, number of planets, this information is incomplete in physics. And then we can go to the next point, that physics does not mention anything about the spiritual planet or Vaikuntha, Golok Dham. There is no mention of Golok Dham. Where is the absolute truth? In the absolute knowledge, it is given that 1/4 of the creation of God is material and 3/4 of the creation of God is spiritual. It's a spiritual world, but there is no mention of a spiritual world in the physics. So imagine we do not know our real home, Vaikuntha, Goloka, Vrindavan, the spiritual world. Even we are at the last ladder of the our spiritual journey, being human, taking this precious human life, but we don't know, nobody is there to tell us where is now our home. Can we afford to not know this, where our real home is at this stage when we have got this life which is so precious? We need to have the knowledge which can tell us not only completely about this material world but also completely about the spiritual world. Only then we will be able to take the right decisions in our life. Otherwise, with the incomplete knowledge, our decisions will also be incomplete or not correct. Physics would teach us how, by the evaporation process of water, the clouds are created and they get converted into rain, which is fine. But who is doing that? Physics has no mention of Indradev, who is a demigod responsible for giving us the rains. Bhagavad Gita chapter 3, 14th verse. All living bodies subsist on food grains, which are produced from rains. Rains are produced by performance of yajna. Yajna means sacrifice. And yajna is born of prescribed duties. This is what Krishna says in chapter 3, 14th verse. What Krishna is saying to us is that this coming of the rains on which the entire food grain is given to us. How does the food grain comes to us? Because of rain. But this rain coming to us is not by chance. It is coming from the sacrifice, performance of sacrifice, performance of yajna. And Srila Prabhupada says the chanting of the holy names is the yajna of this age, Kali Yuga, the yajna that we are doing. So it is not just by chance. Imagine if there is no rain, imagine if there is no air for 5 minutes in the universe, what can happen? If there is no rain, there is no food. If there is no air, there is no breath. We can't survive. Another point we discussed last time also, physics just observed the gravitational force and it gave it a name, law of gravity. And we are taught that this is Newton's law of gravity. But actually Newton is not the lawmaker. He is not the one who created gravity. So this is the incomplete knowledge. If we don't hear from the creator, we will not understand what is the complete knowledge. So Newton does not know why God created gravity, how he created gravity. He doesn't know that. He just observed an apple fell on the ground from the tree, and he said that by the falling of the fruit from the tree, there is a special force which is happening, and that force is called gravitational force. And this is a law. Chapter 15, verse 13. Krishna says, I enter into each planet, and by my energy they stay in orbit. I become the moon and thereby supply the juice of the life to all vegetables. Krishna is saying that he is entering into each planet. Not only each planet, he is entering into each soul, every living entity. He is the energy behind the orbit, how everything stays in the orbit. He becomes a moon, and as a moon he is giving the taste to every fruit and vegetable. So he is giving the taste, the moon is giving the taste. And who is the moon? Krishna himself becomes the moon. It's clearly explained. Now, if you ask any scientist, how does the taste come in the fruits and vegetables? I don't know. It's just natural. Yeah, it's natural, but what is behind that natural, what is behind that nature, who is doing that, is not complete. In physics, not only there is no knowledge on the creator of the universe in the planet, but also there is no mention of the maintainer. Okay, it is all created by chance, but who is maintaining it? Even today, everything is so very well maintained, all the universes are so well maintained. Who is maintaining it? But in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna clearly mentions about the creator as well as the maintainer. Who is maintaining this? Imagine if we don't read Bhagavad Gita, we will always live our life in the illusion that everything has come just by chance. And we will take all the decisions of our life based on this incomplete knowledge. So imagine, let's say a crude example. There are two bacteria inside the water, and one bacteria is more intelligent than the other bacteria. Yeah? And the intelligent bacteria speaks to the other bacteria that, you see, this world of ours, which is just a glass of water, is very small for some species who can just pick up the entire world of ours and drink the world of ours when they feel thirsty. And the other bacteria who is not so intelligent will never be able to believe that, because his knowledge is totally incomplete. So if we want to become the bacteria who is more intelligent bacteria, then we need to complete our knowledge through Bhagavad Gita. So because our size actually in context to this entire universe or entire creation is really even smaller than a bacteria. Next point is, in physics there is observation of some facts, but there is no knowledge on purpose of life. Have you ever heard in physics or any other science what is the purpose of life? So imagine if somebody is teaching you, this is this, this is this, this is this, but why are we reading all this? We don't know. So there is no why. It's only what is happening and how it is happening. And then let's make something out of this. Bhagavad Gita is giving you the clear purpose of life. Without Bhagavad Gita, we will be almost living a life where we know the partial knowledge, we know the partial information through the academic knowledge, but that is also incomplete, and the purpose, the why part is also missing. The why is completely missing, and what is also incomplete. And because we don't know the purpose of life, and because we don't create our relationship with Krishna. See, imagine this. If there is no purpose of life, means we don't know who is Krishna, who is God, what is our relationship with God. And if we don't establish that relationship with God, it means that our life will be full of fears and anxieties. Actually, God and fears, they cannot coexist in the same heart. So we will live all our life incomplete, with no purpose, full of fears and anxiety, just because we have not taken the complete knowledge. And once we realize the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, all the fears and anxieties will be gone. So this is the real knowledge through which we can overcome our fears and anxieties and stress of life. We can experience the ecstatic bliss in our life, constant ecstatic bliss in our life. That should be the knowledge. Not something which is just giving us some bit of information and we spend 20 years of our life into taking this incomplete information. So that is about the physics part. We can go on and on. There are thousands of such examples where whatever, each and every point that we study in physics, there is a completeness to each and every point of that. That is a incomplete, and there is a complete absolute version of each and every point of physics. Now we can move to the chemistry. So chemistry teaches us that everything is made of chemicals. As the name itself suggests, chemistry is the science of chemicals. So what is this chemical? There is no mention of these chemicals in Bhagavad Gita or any other scriptures. This is something which is man manufactured. These are the names given by the chemical industries because they have to run the industries on these. They say that everything that exists on this planet is made of chemicals. Human body also, animals body also, plants also. As I said in the last session, if you go to Wikipedia, Just put the composition of human body and you will see so many chemicals, and only chemicals, nothing else. So Krishna says earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence and ego. All together these 8 constitutes my separated material energies. Nothing is made of chemicals. Krishna gives a complete knowledge that everything is made of earth, water, fire, air, ether in its physical realm, in its gross body, and inside the living beings there is a subtle body also, which is made of mind, intelligence and ego. So these are the all 8 of them. They comprise God's separated material energies. There is no mention of chemical in Bhagavad Gita, that anything is made of chemicals. So you see, when chemical industry came, what happened? The knowledge of chemical came. And who made that knowledge? Chemical industries built that knowledge. And the parents, they started to think, okay, my son or my daughter can become a chemical engineer and will get a job because chemical industries are giving the jobs. So this is the perfection of life. If they get to the job, they start earning money, that's a perfection of life. And that is where the education is also looped in, and it's called knowledge. So the entire knowledge or entire education of chemical became a knowledge. In fact, that was not knowledge. Knowledge is God has made this entire planet out of earth, water, fire, air and ether. And these are the God's separated energies. So this is completely wrong. Chemical industry or chemical knowledge is completely wrong. So imagine after some years, if science realizes or science discovers, as it always does, oh, everything is made of these 5 elements. Chemistry is wrong or chemicals are wrong. So imagine we spend all our life thinking first that we are chemicals, and then suddenly science says we are not chemicals, we are made of these 5 elements. These days I am seeing that during this coronavirus, so many doctors, medical doctors now have started to understand that chemicals cannot treat coronavirus. There has to be something more natural. And they are themselves saying, okay, drink more water, don't eat food. And they are also searching for the answers beyond just chemicals. So imagine if we get to know about this after 30 years. We have already lived all our life thinking that we are chemicals and everything is made of chemicals. We ate the food which is made of chemicals, and it's also mentioned on the every packet of the food, carbohydrates, fats, this, that, all of those chemicals. No, we are not chemicals. All the medicines, they are written chemicals. We are not chemicals. We are consuming so much of chemical inside our body, thinking that this can actually repair our body or feed our body. It's completely wrong. So we live entire life on the wrong knowledge. So chemistry is a complete illusion. There is no truth in that. So another thing about chemistry I can share with you, Green Revolution. You must have all read about Green Revolution. So what happened? Where is the origin of Green Revolution? So India was a very rich country. Was the only country on this planet. There was only Bharata 5,000 years ago. There was no other country, no other nation. This entire land was Bharat. And that's why it was Mahabharat, the greater India. And then we got this split into different countries, different nations and all of that. I'm not going into that. But just a few hundred years ago, just couple of hundred years ago, I'm just taking a very recent example. India used to be a very rich nation before Britishers came into India. And what they found is that this country is so rich, and if we have to break the backbone of this country, we have to break the culture and spirituality of this country. And what they started to do, they realized that the biomass is the biggest strength of this country. And what they started they started to kill a lot of cows. They started to kill about 10,000 cows every week in the slaughterhouses. They created more slaughterhouses. And then they introduced something called chemicals, all these urea fertilizers for feeding the mother earth. So on one side they killed mother cow, and on the other side they gave the poison to mother earth also. Two of our mothers out of 7 mothers which is given in the scriptures. When this poison was given, it was given in the name of that it can actually grow the food faster. But it was actually wrong. Today we are looking for organic food, chemical free food. Why? If it was right, it should have sustained, it should not have any health problems. So when that food came out of that ground, that food was filled with chemicals, of course. And then what happened? There was a new industry which was created. And that new industry was food industry. Food industry means now they said this food will directly not go into the human's body. It will have to go to the factory first and will be packed into certain way in a plastic packed and then go to humans so that it can sustain, it can remain in the shelf for longer time. So the potatoes became the potato chips at that time. And there was no life into it. The food became first chemicalized like a poison, and then chemicalized food also became a product in the factory. And as a product it started to come to us and it went into human body. When it went into human body, of course, it's not something eatable. It's something which is a product of a factory. So it killed the human body. It was not living. It was a dead food. It was a dead product that everybody started to eat. So then there was another chemical industry which was made, which is a pharmaceutical industry. And pharmaceutical industry then made so many doctors. They made a science. They made an education which is a medical science. And that medical science was created by pharmaceutical industry. Doctors were again the agents of pharmaceutical industry. So when all these things were happening, when Green Revolution came, that became an education. Actually it was poisoning our earth. When pharmaceutical industry came, it is actually poisoning the human body. When food industry came, it is actually poisoning the human body. So all of this was happening in last 200 years because the entire education, English education went wrong. It has nothing spiritual inside. It has no foundation. Now we realize, all of us, that human body has so many diseases. At such a young age also so many diseases. Because we are eating wrong food. We are eating all products, dead food. And we are eating medicine. We are taking medicines to cure ourselves. Again, which is a product of an industry. It is not something which is a treatment. The patient of a cancer does not die because of cancer. It dies because of the medicines given to him to cure the cancer. So, this is something which even doctors realize that now. That the chemotherapy that they are giving, the radiations that they are giving, that is the cause of the death. Is not the cure of the cancer. So anyway, we are not going into that. But chemistry, the whole chemical thinking, starting from Green Revolution to the putting into the food chemicals and then putting into medicines, everywhere we put the chemicals. The chair that we are sitting on is a chemical. The stool that we are sitting on is a chemical. Anything that you clean your house with is a chemical. The sofa, foam inside the sofa is a chemical. Everything is made of chemical now. Because chemical industry has to grow. So that chemistry is an outcome of that chemical industry. Is a product of a chemical industry. So we need to understand that Bhagavad Gita does not tell anything about chemicals. We are not chemicals. And nothing is made of chemicals. Everything is made of 5 elements. Even gold, even wood, even everything that we see in its gross manifestation is made of these 5 elements only. Earth, water, fire, air, ether. It's like imagine there is a potter and he has got some clay. And with the same clay, he makes different kinds of things. Like he made a horse, he made a tree, he makes anything. So same way, the clay is the same. Earth, water, fire, air, ether. God is that potter. And then he's made it into different forms. Humans, animals, trees, vegetation, mountains, everything is made of these 5 elements only. And what is gold? Actually, everything is coming from the earth. We are just digging the earth and taking it out and processing it and giving it a name. Everything, Srila Prabhupada says, earth is the giver of everything that we need. All our necessities are actually taken care of by Mother Earth. So we are just mistreating, misusing all those facilities given to us by God. Everything that is produced in the factory, right now there is a computer in front of me, there is a camera in front of me, all of this is produced in some factory. What is that factory made of? Again, there is air. If there is no air in that factory, it cannot survive. If there is a machine, what is that machine made of? Let's say iron. Where does that iron comes from? From earth. There is a human who is running that machine. Who is this? What is this physical body made of? Earth, water, fire, ether. And soul. That soul is again a part of God. Man created what in this? He didn't create that iron. Iron is already coming from earth. He didn't create air. Air is already given by God. He didn't create this human, this intelligence, nothing. It's all a part of God. If somebody can create humans, tell him that, okay, put some chemicals together and create humans. They cannot. No scientist can create human life. No scientist can create air. No scientist can create anything natural. They will just use the ingredients of God and reprocess it and make something out of this and give it a new name. And we will start to believe and do the marketing, and we'll start to believe this is the necessity of life. So this is the thing that we are taught mostly in the science, in the marketing, that we are made of chemicals and we can fill our life, or let's say we can get the happiness in our life just by adding more chemicals, be it in the shape of food or whatever, or things. All things are made of chemicals. So chemistry is not important in life. We come to biology. Even in biology, it is taught that a human body is made of electrons and protons and atoms and all of this. But what is exactly human body made of? Mahabhutani ahankaro buddhir vyaktamev cha indriyani dashekam cha pancha chandriya gochara ichha dvesha sukham dukkham sangatas chetana dhriti etasha kshetram samasena savikaram udharanam. So Krishna says the 5 great elements: false ego, intelligence, the unmanifested, the 10 senses, and mind, the 5 sense objects: desire, hatred, happiness, distress, the aggregate, the life symptom, and convictions. All these are considered in summary to be the field of activities and its interactions. Bhagavad Gita says our body is made of 24 elements. Let's count these. First is Mahabhuta. Mahabhuta is earth, water, fire, air, ether. This is like the raw material. Yeah. Then our body is not just the raw material. It's got the eyes also, nose also, ears also. All these elements. So what are these? They are 5 knowledge acquiring senses. Gyanendriya. Ears, eyes, nose, touch, and tongue. These are the 5 knowledge acquiring senses. Then there are 5 sense objects, which is hearing, seeing, touching, and tasting and smelling. Yes, these are the 5 sense objects. Then there are 5 karmendriya, which means working senses. What are those? Voice, legs, hands, genitals, and anus. These are the 5 working senses. 5 Mahabhuta, 5 knowledge acquiring senses, 5 sense objects, and 5 working senses. These are 20. Now 4 more remains: mind, intelligence, and ego. And the 4th one is the unmanifested state, where the 3 modes of material nature: mode of goodness, mode of passion, and mode of ignorance. That unmanifested state inside us is the fourth one. So all of this put together is actually human body. And Krishna says this is the field of activities. This is a field of activity given to us, and there are certain things which are interactions of this field of activity. So this is the complete knowledge. It's not chemicals. We can relate to it. There is man hai andar hamare. There is man inside. There is intelligence inside. You see? So that is the complete knowledge of this human body. And the human body is not made of electrons and protons and all of those things. This is completely wrong. Biology is wrong. So also in biology, there is no clarity on how many number of species they exist on this planet. In the last sessions, we learned that scripture says that there are 8.4 million species. 8.4 million species, and each species is given exactly how many are under the water, how many are on the ground, and all of that. But there is no mention of that in biology. And biology is only about the material body. There is no mention of the soul. Our real biology is soul. There is no mention of that. So, no purpose of again human body is mentioned in biology. Nothing is mentioned about the permanent happiness. In Bhagavad Gita, there is complete knowledge with the purpose of life and how we can revive our blissful self. We can get the lessons of permanent happiness from Bhagavad Gita. And that is something which is most important for us to know. So today we could only cover 3 subjects: physics, chemistry and biology, only the science part. In the next session we will cover 5 more, and we will see what is the absolute truth of those 5 subjects that we study in the school. What is Bhagavad Gita telling us about those subjects? So the idea of sharing with you these comparisons is not to tell you that you stop going to school from tomorrow. No, it's just to add to your knowledge that what is complete and what is incomplete. So you can give your life more weightage, more priority to the spiritual complete knowledge. Like we discussed, if we want to bring the quality in our life, we need to bring the quality in each day of our life, and that each day has to be spiritually strong. If we make a day spiritually strong, then even the effect of the imperfect knowledge or incomplete knowledge will not affect us, because we have filled our day, especially the mornings of the day, with a perfect knowledge, with perfect chanting. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.